बहुत ही अलग अंदाज में खेल के आ रही हैं. Both of them have won thrillers, and who can forget what we witnessed yesterday, overtime पे overtime. So NODWIN Valorant Challengers South Asia Split 2 playoffs में हमें टॉप 4 की टीमें मिल चुकी हैं, but today's matchup will go a long way in deciding कि Split 2 playoffs के end में जो grand finale है उसमें हम किस टीम को देखने वाले हैं. So without any further ado, let's bring on team number 1. This is God's Reign. God's Reign Revenant को हरा के यहाँ पहुंचे हैं इस मैचअप के लिए. कुछ बदलाव जरूर किए क्योंकि पहले हमने टिक्स को देखा एज द IGL, लेकिन थिंग्स चेंज क्योंकि ये लोग थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन में थे, थोड़ी सी दुविधा में थे, तो इन लोगों ने अपने IGL को बदला और लेके आए साई को, एंड दैट ब्रॉट अ चेंज इन फॉर्च्यून्स. रेवेनेंट को हरा के अब वो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. They have managed to get into the top 4. There comes on the IGL for God's Reign. Sai, right. But now, who are they up against? कल का गेम सबसे थ्रिलिंग गेम, सबसे लंबा गेम, and it delivered on every count. Ladies and gentlemen, the victorious team from yesterday's matchup. Here is Reckoning. And here comes the team that was here on stage in a thriller minute matchup just 24 hours ago. Yes, this is Reckoning. और जिस अंदाज में इन्होंने कल ट्रू रिपर्स को हराया, it went down to the last minute. लेकिन एक के बाद एक वो सारे ओवरटाइम्स जब आगे बढ़ रहे थे, वो एक ब्रेक जो आया वहां पे इन्होंने अपनी बाजी जो है वो मार ली है. And truly it's time for Reckoning to make it count. हर्ष इनके IGL हैं और आज एक ऐसी टीम के सामने है जिनके साथ ये रिश्ता है पुराना. There comes Flavin also, right? All right, time to get the IGLs down to the middle. So इस बार तो साय आ ही जाएगा. And here we have हर्ष. आ जाओ भाई. हाँ, तो ये हो क्या रहा है, तुम दोनों फिर आ गए हो क्योंकि स्प्लिट 1 प्लेऑफ्स में रेकनिंग जीती थी, उन्होंने GDR को भेज दिया लोअर ब्रैकेट में, फिर स्प्लिट 2 प्लेऑफ्स में उल्टा हुआ. कौन समझाने वाला है ये सीन मेरे को, तुम समझा दो.
अभी उन लोगों ने हम लोग को लोअर ब्रैकेट में भेजा था. यस, बहुत अप्स एंड डाउन्स आए. आज समझेगा कि कौन बेटर टीम है क्योंकि हम लोग 1-1 है अभी, तो आज जो जीतेगा आज समझेगा कि कौन बेटर टीम है.
बेटर टीम तो सही है लेकिन साथ में एक को घर भेज देंगे ना. तुम्हारा जो लास्ट मैच था मैं वहाँ से देख रहा था, ऐसा लग रहा था कि ये पांचों उंगलियां जो हैं, पांचों टीम मेंबर्स जो हैं वो एक मुट्ठी की तरह नहीं खेल रहे हैं. इट टुक यू टाइम. सेकंड एंड थर्ड गेम में तुम लोगों ने वापसी की, बातें हुई हैं. हैव यू ट्राइड टू फिक्स एवरीथिंग दैट वाज रॉन्ग?
यस, डेफिनेटली. एक मुट्ठी की तरह नहीं खेल रहे थे. वही बात है जैसे अभी आपने बोला कि अगर 5 उंगलियां साथ में नहीं चलेगी तो गेम नहीं चलेगी. हमने डेफिनेटली इसके बारे में बात करी है, काफ़ी चीज़ें ठीक करी है. आई होप आज एक मुट्ठी की तरह खेलेंगे. और
भाई ये तो बात कर रहे हैं अपनी टीम की, लेकिन तुम यहाँ स्टेज पे 24 घंटे नहीं हुए हैं. ट्रू रिपर्स के खिलाफ तुमने जो मैच खेला है, लास्ट 30 मिनट्स एब्सोल्युटली आउट ऑफ द पार्क. तैयार हो एक और माउंटेन क्लाइंब करने के लिए?
ऑब्वियसली हम लोग, मैंने कल भी बोला था कि यस, हम लोग दोनों के लिए लास्ट 2 गेम है. हम लोग का 200% डालेंगे, देखिएगा जो रिजल्ट रहेगा इसे.
पिछले जो बेस्ट ऑफ 3 हमने देखे हैं जिसमें तुम इन्वॉल्व हो, उसमें तुम अपने ही मैप जो है वो कॉन्कर नहीं कर पाए हो, साथ में वो शुरुआत जो है वो स्लो हुई है. क्या आज कोई ऐसा मैप जिस पे नजर है वेयर वील सी गॉड्स रेन कम आउट ऑल गन्स ब्लेजिंग?
ये तो आपको गेम के अंदर दिखेगा क्योंकि ये हमारी स्प्लिट 1 से प्रॉब्लम चलती हुई है. हम जो मैप खेलते हैं हम वही हार जाते हैं. होपफुली आज नहीं होगा.
रेकनिंग, आप लोगों ने गेम तो कमाल का खेला, लेकिन ब्लंडर्स बहुत हुए, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी गलतियां हुई हैं। जैसा मैं कह रहा हूँ 24 घंटे नहीं हुए हैं, वक्त मिला है, रात भर कुछ बात हुई है उनको फिक्स करने की।
यस हम लोग ने मतलब जो कल हम लोग का टीआर के सामने मैच हुआ था, हम लोगों ने सब चीज़ जो मिस्टेक्स हम लोगों ने देखा वो क्लियर किया है, सब बात किया है। लेट्स वो आज देखने मिलेगा तुम्हें।
इन दोनों के बीच में भी काफी दोस्ती है, लेकिन टॉप 4 में पहुंच चुके हो। रियलिस्टिकली वेयर डू यू सी योरसेल्फ लैंडिंग नाउ?
टू बी ऑनेस्ट हमेशा से गोल एक ही रहा है, नंबर 1 हमेशा वही बनते हुए आए हैं। इस बार शुरुआत बहुत ख़राब स्टार्ट हुई है, बट कोई ना, अभी मैच बाकी है। लाइक हर्ष सेड, डू और डाई है दोनों टीमों के लिए, दोनों टीमें अपना 200% देंगी एंड होपफुली मे द बेस्ट विंस।
सुनो, पिछले मैच तक टिक्स जो है वो आईजीएल था, लेकिन उसके बाद साय आया, और तुमको तो ये लाइन पता है, ये फेमस लाइन साई भाई की रीड आई है ना। तुम खेल चुके हो इनकी लीडरशिप में, तो अगर ऐसी आई लाइन कि साई भाई की रीड आई है, उसका काउंटर तो होगा ना तुम्हारे पास, तुम्हें तो पता क्या करना होगा।
लाइक मेरे को थोड़ा बहुत पता है, लाइक जब भी समुराई के टाइम पे मेरे को पता था कि वो कैसा कॉलिंग करता था, कैसे टीम को घुमाता था और कैसे खेलता था। तो मेरे को एक पॉइंट पे वो एडवांटेज बोल सकते हो कि मेरे को पता है कि वो कैसे टीम को खिला सकता है। लाइक यस उसको भी उतना एक्सपीरियंस है, उसको भी पता है कि मेरे को पता है, तो वो लाइक घुमा सकता है और कुछ चेंजेस कर सकता है। यस बट वो गेम के अंदर ही समझेगा अभी।
एक इनविजिबल लकीर है, लेकिन दोस्ती बरकरार है अभी भी।
डेफिनेटली दोस्ती बरकरार रहेगी।
मैं तो कह रहा था हगी कर दो यार एक दूसरे को। देयर यू गो भाई, पैसे बन गए। क्रैट जॉनी, बैक टू यू गाइस इन द स्टूडियो।
मैं मतलब स्टेज पे तो बहुत
Welcome back. Yeah, do or die matchup indeed as the coaches walk on the stage, and once again the final few words are being said. As Sai said, as the game starts, the map veto will be revealed as well, and soon enough we're gonna take a look at the map veto, which should unfold a lot of things, which should be a huge icebreaker.
Or you could hit the ice and sink like Titanic. Both these teams have faced each other in the past, so there's a lot of these storylines which go back way in the past, and you can probably learn some lessons from those too. The last time these two teams faced each other, they faced on Ascent, Haven, and Bind. Ascent was a very topsy-turvy game. At least the first half was quite competitive, and then in the second half, God's Reign were able to string together 7 rounds and lose only 1 round in that attacking side. That's exactly why they were able to win Ascent. But I would partially blame that on the Viper pickup, because like Reckoning didn't get as much value out of that as they wanted. A Viper in Ascent usually is considered to be a bit of a weird agent, so understandably so. But in Haven, they tried to pull off something that only Loud have done before, and that is use the Harbor Viper. And while they were able to win, using that agent composition, it was still quite an iffy game. And then Bind, I think, was the biggest problem over there, right? Because God's Reign won every single round on their defensive side, and they didn't let Reckoning take anything at all.
Yeah. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the map veto. Reckoning Esports will be going for the first ban. As we all know, God's Reign, they have been looking forward to do some target bans, but right off the bat, we're going to see Reckoning Esports ban out the map of Split. Quite an interesting decision being made from the side of Reckoning, but this is what they exactly did when they faced last time against God's Reign. And then God's Reign is instantly going to go ahead and ban out the map of Fracture. I think so that's a comfort ban from God's Reign. And Reckoning Esports instantly picked Pearl. Now, we saw Reckoning Esports play yesterday on the map of Pearl, so definitely quite a lot of loopholes have definitely been discovered. So hopefully God's Reign have done their research, but that also means that probably Reckoning Esports know in what aspects of the game they exactly need to work on the map of Pearl. So I'm expecting that they've been buckled up and they're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised by how this entire veto is turning out, right? The one map which Reckoning were able to win last time, Haven, they banned it this time, even though they were able to win on it last time. So that kind of tells you that they're not comfortable with that Harbor Viper setup anymore. And once again, Bind has been picked up as a decider. I'm starting to get nervous. Bind was an absolute disaster for Reckoning Esports last time around. But hey, at least they managed to change up the map veto, right? They instantly pick up that Pearl map because it doesn't get banned out. Last time, God's Reign had banned Pearl right off the bat. And that's exactly why Reckoning had to go ahead and pick Ascent later on as an adjustment. But now that Fractured is banned first and Pearl's available, Reckoning wastes no time taking it.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeing Flabbin on Astra and Trist on KO. Okay, a single controller lineup, this time from the side of Reckoning Esports, and similar things going to be happening even from their opponent. But we're seeing that initiator change over here from the side of Reckoning Esports, as they're going to go with the Sky and also a Sentinel, which will be the KJ. Quite interesting. The lineups are almost similar, but still a little bit different, and that difference can make a massive impact.
Exactly, that triple initiator setup coming out from God's Reign can be quite questionable, especially on the map of Pearl. There was a time when they used to run that breach, but I think somewhere at the start of Split 2 they got rid of the breach because it probably wasn't giving them as much value as it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But now it seems like they've gone back to it, right? There was a point when Hoke stopped playing the breach and he started playing the KO instead, and then they would still have one Killjoy in the mix at least. But now they have a triple initiator, so I wonder what God's Reign is going to do. They will have a lot of info to begin with, but very, very difficult time in the second half when they are on defense without that Killjoy.
Soa and KO being picked out. I'm quite skeptical about the Soa pick over here because it's not that valuable, to be honest, on the map of Pearl, but we never know. Maybe these guys are the professionals. They've probably got a way to work it out, as we've got God's Reign wanting to breach out the A site so far. They've got the arts control, and now they've also stepped their foot inside the sites. Reckoning Esports, on the other hand, looking to breach in the site, and a good find. Gonna deny the spike so far. The spike plant denied, and well, it's out and over. An absolute burst from the side of Reckoning Esports, and well, you blink it and you miss it. Reckoning Esports, they win this round while Triss gets a 3K.
And Reckoning Esports playing in such a disciplined fashion too. Everyone's holding towards the back of site, mostly towards Flower Pot and Secret. None of them really gave out an early fight to God's Reign. They let God's Reign flood into Ard, let them flood into A main, don't fight over there. But the moment they tried to plant that spike, that's when Reckoning Esports ripped the entire crossfire apart and start fighting them, poking in and out, just trading each other really well. None of them overcommitted, none of them went into an angle from where they can't be traded. That's how Reckoning Esports win the pistol.
Remember, we had this conversation about how good Reckoning Esports are to adjust to the pace, and look at this, they're playing so disciplined.
Yep.
No one's just pushing at all. But yeah, there is one little push from the side of Reckoning Esports, and he's managed to get a lot of info so far. Unfortunately for Reckoning, they've lost out on one of the players, but it's not going to matter. Deadly 10, this man is on fire. He connects all the shots with the Sheriff, and Hirsch in the close quarters will seal it.
Sheesh, that was quite a stylish affair from Deadly, right?
Yeah.
Starts off with a banger, and he follows up once again. If Deadly keeps on hitting shots like these, then God's Reign are in a bit of trouble. But guess what? Voya still has that Vandal. And he will definitely put it to good use. The only man with a weapon of sorts.
Oh, sold it.
Okay, then I guess no Hero Vandals from Reckoning.
Oh, I know what they're going to do. They're going to buy Operator for Deadly 10. This is their game plan. In the upcoming round, they want to give that win condition in the hands of Deadly as quick as possible. And just a fourth round and already an Operator in the hands of Deadly can definitely be a deadly combo, huh?
Yeah, it can turn the tides. Voya's already got 4,700 credits, so he's close to that op already.
Oh my god.
Nah, but no matter you have an op or not, it will be a bit of a concern if Autumn's hitting shots like those, and if Deadly gets evaporated just like that. It's done also quite nice. Now you can really start to see that breach come into full effect, as Reckoning just simply don't get to peek out when they want. Instead, they're just trying to get something within the gaps that is being offered by God's Reign, and so far all the gaps are being plugged up nicely. Fix, Autumn, Sai, everyone getting a piece each. And just like that, the buy round goes in the favor of God's Reign. As expected, Reckoning don't win the bonus round, but then again, that was because of the lack of weaponry.
Yeah. God's Reign just having better shooting with the better weapons and able to win that round so far. Good execute onto the B side though still. And yeah, now this is where the Operator will be pulled out as well. And yes, this is what I exactly said. Up in the hands of Deadly 10, it will indeed be a deadly combination. But you can see what Reckoning Esports are doing too. They've bought light armors. That means even if this round is lost from Reckoning Esports, in the upcoming round, they will still have enough money to buy out. So that's a good thing.
Well, here it comes. The big bad Operator. Ready to strike on mid. Now, luckily for God's Reign, they're not going anywhere close to mid, right? They always start off in a very similar fashion. They love taking control of B ramp early on. But they will keep changing the positions of their players every now and then. Like, for example, this time Tix is exploring A main by himself, and he's about to encounter Flabin. Flabin wins the duel.
Nicely done. Puts that nail on that opponent's head. And now Tix out of the game. One big man not inside the round anymore. That's a massive threat neutralized. Hirsch as well, he's got pretty much almost all of his utility kit available. So that can be a lot of value in itself. A lot of visual confirmation. Good flash gonna give the presence away too, and as soon as the presence is given away, God's Reign, they will burst onto the site. Autumn once again just dashing forward. Nice click onto the opponent's head. But Voya is gonna start to retaliate back in style with the help of Deadly 10, and Deadly 10 is connecting all the shots. 2 players found so far, and it's all down to Side Dreams now. But so far, Sai's not gonna be able to do anything. He will probably need to play it back and save.
Yeah, I wonder if he can even save at this point. All these people, they're ready to peek him down, so it's quite likely that he doesn't get to save this one. But he doesn't even have the intention to do so. He's just hoping someone offers a 1v1 to him and he gets more frags, but that won't happen. And that, my friends, is the drawback and the strength of a triple initiator composition. The biggest strength is that because you have 2 flashers, you can easily take control of backside. Autumn has absolutely no problem getting the kill onto Harsh because he's blind as a bat. But because Reckoning Esports are using their Astra as a pseudo-sentinel of sorts over here, making the smokes come alive as soon as the execute is underway and using the nanoswarms to buy time, God's Reign have a very little timing window, right? They have the timing window in between the flashes when they can easily get those frags. But if they don't, well then, it will be trouble. But this time they don't need anything to get those frags. It's just Autumn and his Blade Storm. He's hovering above like an Apache attack helicopter.
Well, feels bad, man, for Hirsch. But Reckoning Esports, once again, approaching the similar sort of pattern. Pushing out of the A-main area, as always, but this time with the help of Flabin. Oh, the timing does not work out in the favor of Deadly 10, and Flabin's got a huge load of army in front of him, approaching him, needs to get back to safety and evil. Operator once again gonna click into action, but a little too late for that one. Flabin's gonna get the retaliation, but he's got an entire army approaching in front of him, and he's also being stunned down. Nothing can be done. He gets taken care of. Tick still looking to overextend out of the smoke towards the flower pod region. But in the end, he's not gonna be able to do so. Denied. Trist trying his best to fight back with his teammate, and Voya really has to be the key player here, considering Trist doesn't even have a lot of HP left over. Reckoning Esports in a massive world of trouble, and they're still able to find the kills somehow.
Oh my god, they're getting all the kills, not just one. Inside, even though he's the clutch
2v4?
master. Yeah, he can't get everybody, right? A 2v4 pulled off by Reckoning Esports. And I can't help but just feel really bad for God's Reign over here. I mean, they did everything correctly on paper. They got the instant opening frag because of Autumn and his hovering blades. Plus, the AWP in the hands of Deadly couldn't do anything. The frag onto Flabin was immaculate because he got stunned. He had an aftershock and Molly's coming towards him, and even if he tries to escape, he will just get shot down. So those 3 frags that God's Reign were able to get were immaculate. And yet, Reckoning Esports on the back of pure will and raw aggression just get that retake, just win a fight. 2v4 brawling their way through.
Speak about brawling, this time it's going to be the same thing, an absolute street fight. Look at God's Reign, such a quick take already. They've got so much map control established. They haven't really stepped their foot inside the connector region just yet. But Autumn's already found his way through the link, almost towards the B site. There are 2 players available on the B, but it is sort of good news for the players of Reckoning Esports that their opponents are in a massive eco. God's Reign so far having the link control. They haven't really done a lot, or they haven't really established a lot just on the back of that, but they're looking to flood inside the site, and Voya is holding that angle. Voya knows there's a massive flood, a massive storm just waiting, and as soon as the floodgates will be open, the opponents will be flooding inside the site.
And here comes the flood inside. 0 point towards backside. There's a massive fault line towards heaven as well. But Voya is unaffected by it all. Unbothered, unfazed, and he continues to reign supreme. The ace acquired as Voya steps up.
Can we just give a good compliment to this man, Flabin? That gravity well was used in such a perfect time. So perfect. It denied the entire entry on the B side. Look at this. The gravity well's activated over there, and they're getting all just pulled it back in the gravity well. Cannot even go outside. The timing was just phenomenal. And now they've also got their hands on the Cosmic Divide, Hunter's Fury, and a Null Command. So God's Ring, this should be a free side take if used properly enough.
Deploying drone.
The timing, the stoicness, everything just worked out really well for Revenant Esports. Oh, Deadly, now he's working wonders. Miracles upon miracles. And he doesn't even get bothered by the recon dart. He just continues to reposition, and he continues to challenge them again and again. Such a risky endeavor for God's Reign to even go up against something like that. Finally, that Cosmic Divide comes through, and that should make things slightly easier. But they have a very little timing window to get that plant done. That lockdown is going to send them packing away. And it buys so much time that they probably won't be able to reinitiate now. This Cosmic Divide will expire soon, and Deadly 10 is already intercepted them.
Reckoning Esports, a good mixture between tactical nature and also being able to adapt to the opponents nicely enough. So disciplined. Look at them. They've got such a good crossfire setup already. Voya on the other side. Trist in the back lines. And SNS Deadly 10's can find the first contact. The two players will peek out. God's Reign so far, they're able to open the floodgates, but not when Voya is present.
All right.
Absolutely not. There's no getting past Voya. That ace helped him farm up the lockdown. He uses it, and then he gets 3 more kills in this round. Inching closer and closer to the ult once more. What a ruthless defender over here. The combination of Deadly 10 and Voya being present on the B side just makes it nearly impossible for God's Reign to make an impact over here. And B side is supposed to be the easiest side to hit.
6-1, dude. Oh, boy. Well, Reckoning Esports just straight up stomping through God's Reign, at least inside the first half so far, but we never know what the outcome's going to be like. This is the first ever tactical timeout that's been called out. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Godspeed is going to give a good listening to the teammates there. And as we have been taking a look at, ever since Godspeed has been added on as a coach inside God's Reign, and we have been seeing this man on the cam from Split 1, the tactical timeouts have been proven out to be so impactful for God's Reign.
Six to 1, and everything's just working out for them. The only round where God's Reign have been able to find some success is towards that A side execute, which is quite funny, you know. Most teams find success towards the B side more than A, but for God's Reign, it just kind of works in the other way. Mostly it's because Deadly 10 and Voya have been just such amazing forces to be reckoned with. Oh, but this time, that guiding light that's thrown out by Harsh, it gets quite a lot of information. And he's already calling in for the rotations. Flabin wants to clear out Art, and if he doesn't see anyone over there, he will most likely go ahead and join his teammate over there. But I just hope it's not too late. I just hope Harsh doesn't get caught out like this. A blind Hunter's Fury. With blind ambition and burning traction, Flabin tries to defend, but he will be met with too much resistance. Wow, Trist!
Wow.
That's a good way to get the kill.
Yeah, such a good fragment, but look at Reckoning Esports. Hirsch left unchecked inside dugout and gets such a massive value. And Reckoning Esports once again just closing the gates right in the face of God's Reign. Getting absolutely stomped on the A side. There's just no way in. No matter what God's Reign are trying to do, the floodgates are always being closed so perfectly by God's Reign. And as I said, the Astra is playing a crucial role in all of this. Flabin has been doing such a phenomenal job, and I feel like he needs to be appreciated so much.
Flabin, Trist, everyone is doing an amazing job. And Flabin, while he may not be able to get into the thick of the action very often, the fact that he's able to use his utility and help his teammates set up for success is just incredible. That timing has been amazing every single round, and this time he even proves me wrong by getting the opening kill himself. Utility and firepower. That's too deadly of a combination.
You need a moment of silence in a moment like this. Godsreen, such an important round for them. They're currently inside an economic trap where they're losing one round, economy reset. Lose the second round, well, you're completely done for. Go on and
not just the economic trap, you know. You can see the push out from Deadly already. They can sense this A hit coming from a mile away, and there's no way back.
Wow.
There's no backup plan for God's Reign.
He took that. You saw the re-peek as well. And he also managed to find a little dink onto Tix, so Tix is way too low. Vibor able to find a good pick onto Hirsch, but Deadly 10 returns back, and now Vibor's on an absolute fire. And Reckoning Esports out and over, they just burst through every single thing that's been put up against them. And once again, Godsreen just being stopped in their tracks.
Yep, absolutely stopped. And Reckoning
He's got
Esports,
0 kills. He's doing Vibor cosplay.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect that to come through. Sheesh. Not the statement I thought I would say, but yeah, it is quite an unfortunate statement, right? Hoax, there was a point where he just deviated away from the breach on this map, but now that he's picked it up, he can kind of regret it already. Deadly 10 ready once more. It's so fascinating to see that Reckoning Esports haven't really been aggro peeking at all, right? They just sort of hold the angles and let God's Reign walk into them. This is perhaps the only time Deadly challenged a little more aggressively. Flabin, though, I feel a bit nervous for him. He's offering a 1v1 to the other controller. Astra versus Astra, Vibor versus Flabin, and one of the only times where Vibor could have single-handedly cleared up the site, he misses that opportunity.
Deadly 10 is holding that angle with Yup. Just waiting for someone to peek out. So much discipline this match showing. Finally a jump peek to confirm the hit. And as he's got the confirmation, Sai's going to shut him down. A perfect nail right on the skull of Deadly 10. Marshall's going to be able to dig his grave right there. But now Reckoning Esports, you can already see the rotations on the site. A couple of dinks as well. A good rolling thunder to suppress the entire showcase that Reckoning Esports was able to bring on the site. But Boy is able to return back 1 kill, and that's a good trade.
Yep. All of Reckoning Esports just trying to hold these very cheeky angles, trying to get the kills as the plant goes through. But it's up to Hoax to somehow make this happen. God's Reign even tried to make that readjustment. They had been having trouble clearing out the pillar region, so instead they jump all of the players inside over there and take control of B Link as well, hoping it would alleviate some sort of pressure. But no, almost every single time Reckoning Esports have a pattern of defending this area. They let God's Reign walk into the site. They give up map control in favor of maintaining the man advantage. In no occasion will a member of Reckoning Esports peek out by themselves, except for maybe that 1v1 which Flabin and Vibor engaged in towards A main. Every single time Reckoning Esports will just hold the shallow angles when it comes to defending the sites, and these shallow angles get them the success almost all the time. Sheesh.
Good pick, but a return back instead too. These two teams are really good when it comes to getting their trade kills, but unfortunately, whenever God's Reign they decide to step their foot inside the site, they're always met with such a massive resistance. They're not even able to plant the spike so far. So yeah, this encounter is going to be quite a massive one, and a good shot from Deadly 10. Sai being put to sleep, and now God's Reign once again. A massive mayday situation for them. This will indeed be a panic call. God's Reign now will need to scoop up whatever they've got on their plate, but a Deadly 10 so far, he's been such a huge impact maker. But a return back as well from God's Reign there. A perfect shot from Vibor.
It really can make your life very, very difficult. As soon as the Lambot gets popped, somebody from Reckoning Esports is going to swing wide. And Godsrin have no choice but to clear out backside now. Hoya's aware about this. He knows that they both will try to double peek him. So they're trapping them inside. A fragment on the other end means they can't escape. And then the flash peek to make sure that the kills are there. Reckoning Esports always a step ahead, luring Godsrin into their deaths.
Last round
Massacre.
in the
Absolute massacre. And it seems like, well, we're probably going to be seeing a 11-1 half. Godsrin just getting stomped on so far. Reckoning Esports' pick on the map of Pearl was just perfect. A counter pick against Godsrin especially. And I guess they've managed to find some sort of cheat code against this team, where Godsrin is not even able to do anything. They're not even able to get any sort of kills established so far. Deadly 10's operators making such a massive difference, just like yesterday.
Just like yesterday. But yesterday, Pearl was a very different flavor. It was way too many overtimes and way too much anxiety. This time, the only anxiety is Deadly not being able to dash back. But I think he's gonna be okay with this one. They still have way too much advantage. The barrage of flashes come through. Twist dodges all of them, but he can't dodge Autumn's knives. They try to push in towards Link, and this has been a key area for Godsrin to take control of. This time they're finally successful, but they try to go in for the reset onto the KO, and it doesn't happen. Instant trade comes through, and Godsrin finally are able to put up a second round on board. But still, this is just way too much advantage for Reckoning Esports. They've already secured double digits.
Yeah, it seems like already the story has been dictated in front of us, ladies and gentlemen, and 10-2 is a massive half. I mean, that's a massive difference, and considering Reckoning Esports, they've got such a huge cushion, they're also going to be feeling so confident in the second half. But ladies and gentlemen, speaking about confidence, you guys can also look pretty confident if you're going to shave with the Philips One Blade. And if you guys want to get your hands on the Philips One Blade, there's a giveaway going on. All you need to do is scan that QR code, and you guys stand a chance to win that Philips One Blade. With that being said, it's time for us to push to a short break, and we'll be right back with the second half.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Bro, fridge meat के लिए, heat के लिए नहीं. Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you want a game.
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor to make you forget your frame drops.
Now that's cool.
Game on with Tempest cooling.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Yes, I'm a Gen Z. Or should I say, the Gen Next. And I don't let fear hold me back from doing anything. I choose to move fearlessly to it all.
Hey buddy, we need you to trim your beard for this next scene.
What? Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I move fearlessly in most things, but I draw the line here. What if I Nico cut myself?
Try this.
Phillips.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back into the second half, ladies and gentlemen. 10-2 was the scoreline in the first half, and now we're going to jump inside the games once again, where this time we are going to be seeing the switch up onto the sides too. That means Reckoning Esports on the attack and Godsrin on the defense. Let's see how much of an impact Godsrin's able to make on the defending side.
I really hope that they can put up a show, because so far it's been nothing but lackluster. And it's not just the fact that Godsrin aren't able to get control of the sites, right? Reckoning Esports are firing in all cylinders. Just take a look at the difference in kills that all these individual players have, and you'll notice that Reckoning collectively as a team are stepping up in all sorts of fragging departments. Now this time they have a very default spread out. Deadly 10 venturing towards B pillar. At the same time, you've got Voya holding mid. Trist also looking to re-engage on mid. And on the other side, you've got two people encroaching towards A main. So Deadly 10 over here has to do his best job of selling this fake as much as he can.
Oh,
he doesn't just sell the fake, he also gets the kills. Now that's distraction at its finest.
yeah, perfect duel between the Jetsmen this time. Or once again, he can say Deadly 10 came through victorious. Sai looking to open through this double door. So he's so adamant to push out. Voya is just waiting on the other side. As soon as he's going to step out, this is where the engagement comes through. And yes, Voya wins it. Nicely done. Nail in the coffin for Sai. A 3-on-5 scenario already. Reckoning Esports having all the advantage in the world. And Voya is lurking around in the mid once again. And this man is also looking forward to get the outs control. Look at the rest of his teammates. They're going to flood in all the way from the double doors. And probably will decide to take the lick control. Yep.
Very little time left. Reckoning Esports have to go for the spike tap. And somehow it's going to be up to Tix to just kill these people before they do anything. Hoax does a very good job of spraying them two down. And Trist gets it down into the ground in the nick of time. Vipor and Tix now having to do it all. They thought they could just deny the plant and make it work. But now Vipor has been dinked without even seeing his opponent. And Trist is a miracle worker.
Well, once again, Trist just coming through victorious. This man is so good in the pistol rounds. I remember even in the first half pistol round, he managed to secure a 3K, and now even in the second one, gets a 3K. It's already done, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest, the realistic expectations of the first map, because the upcoming round's going to be anti-eco. But hey, hold on, we never know. The anti-ecos have been far more deadlier. So you never know, man, what's going to happen. And considering it's God's Reign, we know what they're capable of. Can never underestimate.
Shutting them down.
Nice cost 20 drive. It's gonna land quite precisely. And oh my goodness, did you see that? Sheesh! Barely a pixel visible of Deadly's skull, but Autumn's able to connect that shot.
Yeah.
Concealment.
A really nice haircut. And yeah, in that range, Stinger's not going to work out. It's not going to sting properly. Still quite a mid-range engagement. You need to be in extremely close ranges for Stinger to work at its finest. Reckoning Esports, they've got the side control. This shouldn't be that tough to also sustain it. They've got a decent amount of utilities available as well underneath their belts. So they will probably try to use all the ASTER stars and yeah, get them placed down. Nicely done. So much blockade, at least a visual blockade coming through. And Reckoning Esports, they've got a lot of map control. For God's Reign to take it back, only a miracle will be needed. Let's see what type of miracle we're going to see in front of us.
They're just buying time, man. They're just buying time. Using nanos, making sure he doesn't get pushed. Trist, he just has to play on the back of Harsh's contact, and they do both try to play on timing, but it's just simply not enough. The Stingers are doing such an amazing job of making this retake work. Rabin pulls them in, tries to knock them too, and he has to go ahead and swing Autumn. Autumn with the shorty looking to make this work, but it just simply won't happen. Reckoning refuse to budge. They refuse to bow down to anyone.
12-2. Such a massive difference in the scoreline, but hey, God's Reign, they have managed to pull the series back in the past. The first map was quite a close one, quite a close affair, but then God's Reign, they got a reverse sweep once. So there is a possibility we might be seeing a map trade outs, but we're seeing smile on the face of Godspeed, so I guess he's not really, that loss is not really affecting him a lot. Maybe, I don't know, maybe God's Reign are planning to trade this one out.
I mean, I can't exactly decipher what smiling and what emotions are right now. I mean, I'm a bit shaken up, I'm gonna be honest, but hey, as long as God's Reign can maintain their composure, as long as they can find a way to smile through all the things that are being thrown at them, I think they'll find their way across the other maps. It's still quite a long series, right? It's a best of 3, remember. It's a sprint. I'm sorry, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So, yeah, you just gotta do your best to keep calm.
Indeed. 12-2. One more round needed, ladies and gentlemen. On map point is Reckoning Esports, and they've also got the better weaponry on the board. But if Autumn and Psy are able to connect those crucial shots with the Guardians, then that can also create a massive difference. Let's see, though. Considering such a huge cushion is already available in the hands of Reckoning, they're probably going to play it like it doesn't even matter. Even if a round win is taken away from them, it's still not going to affect them quite a lot. Dreams went for quite an initial contact. He wanted to go a little bit aggressive. Wanted to take some sort of risk. A good shot from Autumn. Second one taken down as well. As I said, if these Guardians spring back into the action, things can be a little different, and that's what happens.
Well, at least God's Reign start off on the right foot. They get all the kills they require. But with God's Reign pushing so deep into mid, Reckoning Esports are afraid to peek out now. Will they be able to break this crossfire open, though? Tix can get traded out, but it's only if Hoax doesn't pay attention. Oh, he's forced to fall back on the other side of the door, and that leaves Tix all by himself now. The support is still available through the fault line across the walls, but I'm surprised nobody has cleared out Tix yet. Time is running out, so Reckoning most likely will have to call this as a save. 3 Vandals still quite expensive. Not worth losing their lives against these Bulldogs and Spectres now.
Standing.
And still, this is doable. 1-on-4, easy for Deadly. Can he make this happen? God's Reign, there's only one player available on this site, and Deadly 10 should be able to get a free plant down for himself, but Autumn's just waiting, and that one single tap's gonna seal it. God's Reign, a good round. They're able to scoop this one under the rug, but they've still got a lot knocking on their doors, a lot of problems, that's what I mean. It's just this one round's not going to do it.
Absolutely not. It's not going to cut it. I mean, at this point, we got to start having that conversation about whether we should even consider a possibility of a comeback, or should we just say GT go next? It takes way too much mental stamina to try and mount a comeback of this epic proportions, and I mean, it's most likely that Reckoning will win this out, but God's Reign. Now you gotta pick your battles. You can't hope to win them all.
30 seconds left.
God's Reign, they adapted quite nicely. Pushed up this time, played a little aggressive, try to push on all angles of the map. And map control is something that really just won them that round. They're able to suffocate Reckoning Esports on their attacking side. Look at what Reckoning Esports are doing. They're going to play on a hero Vandal. Flab is the only man with a Vandal in his hands. Deadly 10's going to push up, and good shots from Autumn and Tix is going to do the job so far. They're able to stop the entire wave of the opponents, but Flabin was able to get 2 of his own. And now Voya all by himself, and Hoax is going to be able to seal the deal. Nicely done, God's Reign. These 2 rounds is, of course, going to help you a lot, but now Reckoning Esports are also going to have the better weaponry in their hands, so still tough to call.
Yeah, but given the way that God's Reign have been playing in the last 2 rounds, I think these guys are going to play much more aggressively than Reckoning ever did. They've got 3 flashing characters, so they are just going to pick up fights upon fights upon fights on the back of these flashes and just challenge Reckoning Esports all day long. Well, let's see whether the challenge pays off this time or not. Early fault line doesn't really help them get much, but Autumn is able to pluck one off and fall back to safety as well. Always striking first, always striking when the iron's hot. And he's able to carve out an opportunity. But how many more of these opportunities will it take?
Every single map counts, every single opportunity and a step counts. Especially when you're in an elimination bracket. And Reckoning Esports Ascent, they have managed to trade things out. They're going to start to fall back. That's all they were looking for. They've managed to create a massive distraction, and you can see the rotations too. God's Reign are clearly confused where exactly the flood's going to come in through. Reckoning Esports nicely done. Folks! What were those 2 kills? It was able to point through the smoke. Yeah, the KO's knocked out, so there should be a resurrection coming in, and now it's going to be a 3-on-3. But still, Reckoning Esports, this is quite a tough one to get.
Yeah, they've lost their smokes, and they will have to go head first against this op now in the hands of Autumn. And Autumn is one deadly, mean piece of machine to deal with. Report gets them as they're vulnerable, gets them as they're planting.
Oh my God.
Deadly left to his own devices. He has to isolate these fights. One blade and he should be dead. He's got him dead to rights, and Autumn will finally bury him down.
12-5. I mean, yeah, Godsreen, they're really looking to make a comeback. It does seem like it, but Reckoning Esports, all they're gonna need is one single round. That's it. That's all they need. So Godsreen are like barely hanging on the cliff.
Yeah, this is a cliff which has a long drop if you take a step off in the wrong direction. There's no recovery. Still quite a lot of buffer in between them and overtime. But now you really gotta start asking the question, when do Reckoning close this out? I mean, Godsrain probably don't even consider themselves to be a winner in this game. They just want to drain out the mental stamina of Reckoning Esports. Try to make things a little more easier for them in the next game. And Reckoning go for the good old reliable. It's a fast B hit. Cosmic Divide also committed. So the only way that Godsrain can fight them is by just flashing out on the other side of that orange box. But Reckoning Esports, they're hesitating to even take back Hall's control. They know that Godsrain will focus on that area quite a lot. And they throw flashes of their own. Good trade out though. This at least kills Deadly. And because there's a lockdown available, Godsrain can't peek out and try to deny the plant.
Yeah, even a reverse lockdown. Yeah, lockdown considering that was there. So Godsrain needed to fall back. So much time is being bought over here by Reckoning Esports. And now Godsrain will need to make this one quick. Time's running away, and a Rolling Thunder will be used too from Hulks. A good decision. This is the round where you'll need to pour everything you've got underneath the belt. And Hulks now is going to start to flood in with the back of his flashes. But Hirsch's flank is going to be immaculate. From the back is able to knock on the doors of Godsrain. And also able to knock every single player down. This defuse is being stuck. And well, Godsrain have got no other choice than to get this defuse down. But the time runs out. And a clutch in the end by Hirsch for Reckoning Esports to seal the first map and take care of business. The first map underneath the belts of Reckoning Esports as Godsrain face defeat on Pearl.
What a performance from Reckoning Esports. A dominant first half, 10-2. And then even in the second half, when there's a glimmer of hope for Godsrain, when they establish the win conditions as by just fighting on the back of those splashes, Reckoning Esports do the best they can to avoid fighting at all. They use the Cosmic Divide, pick up only one battle, that too on the back of flashes thrown in by the KO. They plant the spike and get back. And they don't give Godsrain the fights they desire. Flabin slinging his webs across, weaving the traps together. And I must say that some of those moments, not only were the moves very stylish, but he literally does feel like Spider-Man now, doesn't he? He's just weaving a web of traps for his opponents because of his presence all across the map and his utility placement. Flabin was amazing. But we'll discuss all of that in greater detail on the other side of this break.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Feeling under pressure. Pressure.
by Reckoning Esports was just a bit too much for God's Reign to even handle, and that's exactly why they weren't able to do anything on Pearl. A 10-2 lead in the first half, that's a stylish statement from Reckoning Esports. But the last time these two teams faced each other on Ascent, you had a Viper pick by Reckoning. I wonder if that's going to come through once again.
Yeah, we are. I think so. Trist is hovering over that Viper. So maybe we're going to see that Viper. No, okay, no. Flabben's going to go with Omen. So I guess the chances of Viper being picked out over here are going to be quite low. Hirsch, as always, is going to go ahead and take Sova. On this map, Sova is just really good. But Voya with that Sage is definitely quite an interesting pick. And then Trist is going to go ahead and pick out the Initiator, which is going to be a second Initiator from the side of Reckoning Esports on KO. The similar type of composition even from the opponents, but instead of Sage, they're having a KJ. I really like these switch up between the Sentinels from both the sides. Almost the same lineup once again, but that one single Sentinel can make a massive difference.
Yeah, it can really make or break the game. The lack of a Sentinel in the previous game for God's Reign really just made their lives difficult. They were getting backstabs very often, and even on the defensive side, they couldn't really do much except play on the back of their flashes. Now, the lack of a Sentinel, or rather the lack of a Killjoy over here, might just make things difficult for Reckoning Esports. But I'm assuming that Voya is just gonna make use of some really creative vaults and just be a battle sage of sorts. He did get an ace in the previous game, so I'm assuming that his confidence and his aim is at an all-time high.
And yeah, we can't also forget that how much impactful Trist has been in this pistol round. So yeah, well, Trist has been a massive asset for Reckoning Esports. So far, Deadly 10 able to spot out a massive wave of enemies, a good dash away as well, but now he catches a lot of hurt onto himself, and from the back, it's Reckoning Esports, Tristan Flabben, once again, these two guys just retaliating back so nicely. And now God's Reign left on the B side all by themselves. They don't even have the spike control at all, and they will fall down. Trist once again with a 3K. This man has got 3Ks inside pistol rounds all across the board. He's just really good at pistol.
Yeah, and I'm just assuming that because he's good at pistols, he's going to pick up the Sheriff in the next round too, make things even more difficult for the side of God's Reign. What an adjustment, man. Reckoning Esports, they were spread out quite in a defaultish manner across both the sides. Mid was only being held by one person, but as soon as they realize that there's way too much heat, everybody just abandons their posts and doubles down towards market to get that firing squad on board. And just like that, the pistol win is acquired by Reckoning Esports once again. Quite a lot of information too this time.
Oh. I mean, God's Reign, they know it's pretty much tough to get this round sealed up. And Reckoning Esports, they're playing quite defensive. Or is it like to say passive? Not going for the aggressive page at all. On the other hand, God's Reign just going to fall back once again because there's no way they're going to find any sort of entry on the A site. They've got so many utilities just denying that presence there. But once again, they're rerouting back. I don't exactly know what's going on between the calls that are being given away to God's Reign, but they seem pretty indecisive.
Yeah, they're just hoping that they don't walk into traps. Second 0 point from Trist doesn't detect anything this time. So maybe Reckoning Esports would have the wrong idea. But Reckoning had been playing passively since the last map, and they will continue to do so even now. Bulldogs at the ready. Trist mows down everybody. Deadly also peeks ahead of the smoke. Just so brave, not respecting the counter util from God's Reign at all. And it's all down to Tix now. Just playing ring around the rosies ahead of that smoke, and Flabin will detect him. From one omen to the other, he denies any possibility of a sneak past.
Yep. 2-0. Once again, similar start that they had in the previous one too. And if Reckoning Esports is able to run away with the lead once again, then the problems will continue. But what is this? So I'm seeing an operator in the hands of Deadly 10 right off the bat. That is not good for God's Reign. If you're God's Reign, that's a massive sign of worry. It's third round already, and this man has got his hands on the operator. We know how much of a big winning condition Deadly 10's op can bring out.
These walls, they keep on changing every single time. Sometimes they're on mid, sometimes they're on B. And it boils down quite a lot of time now, doesn't it? God's Reign, they have been struggling to pick up the pace every now and then. And because of these walls and barrier orbs, it will slow the round down to a crawl. Once again, putting God's Reign in a bit of a time crunch. Meanwhile, they've got Deadly pushing out with an op towards A main, and he picks someone off. Amazing stuff. So the barrier orb holding them back towards B, and the op holding them back towards A. There's very few options that God's Reign have left now. At least very few that are risk-free.
True that, and this drone's gonna spot Hoax as well. Oh, he doesn't check the close left, and yeah, eventually does, so Hoax's position compromised. A good 0 point, but it's not gonna scan out Voya, so they've got no clue there's a man left over. Onto the logs area. On the other hand, even Sai was able to get one of his own, so Deadly 10, that's a big threat neutralized. Operator not on the boat anymore, so that should be a massive sigh of relief for God's Reign. They don't need to worry about the big cannon.
Yeah, but that op can be recovered by anyone.
They can, but I highly doubt they're going to do so because they've got a massive flood just approaching them on the B side, so this is something that's going to require a lot of attention, and as they do, they're going to start falling down. It's a domino effect. One goes down and the second follows up.
Oh, he can't even get his feet on the ground. It's all up to Trist now. He's pulled off a lot of good stuff in the previous round, in the previous map, but now at this point it just seems like it's better to save. And Reckoning, I mean, they know where the op is, so do God's Reign. The question is, do they stop him from saving that op?
Guess no. And Reckoning Esports knows how much important this op can be in the hands of Deadly 10. I mean, fortunately enough for Deadly 10, he was able to find the first one, but then he got too greedy. You can't even say he got too greedy. That's what he's supposed to do as a duelist. He's supposed to get those first contacts. He got the first one, he went for the second one too, but unfortunately wasn't able to deliver that second time. And God's Reign took that right opportunity at the right time and striked in on the B side. So Reckoning Esports didn't really have a lot to respond on, or at least a lot of time to respond.
Speaking of response, it's only been 3 rounds, so picking up that op once again for Deadly 10 is a very appropriate power response to send to God's Reign. And this time even his teammates have the firepower to back him up, right? I mean, earlier it was just him with the big gun. Everyone else were only Spectres and Bulldogs. Now you also have the Odin on Hirsch. And guess what? The half shield is not really going to bother you now. Since everyone has Vandals, the half shields really do make sense when your opponent's on a full buy. It only can be working to your detriment when your opponent has like Spectres or something, you know? That's when the full shield will actually make an effect. But so far, none of these teams are willing to make moves. They're just exchanging information back and forth with those 0 points.
Indeed. And Hirsch. He's scanned up so much area, so now he knows that there's no one waiting outside B main, so they can go ahead and take that map control. And he can see that instant rotation as well, just falling on towards the A site. God's Reign might just be walking inside a massive trap, because Trist and Flabin is ready for them to just swing in the side, and as that happens, they're going to get probably mowed down. But it's all going to come down to these contacts and these duels. So far, Trist was able to get one, but then God's Reign able to return back and reply back with their own. Good kill with the shorty. In the close quarters, no way anyone's gonna stand chance against that gun. And now it's a 3-on-2. Hirsch has got his hands on the Odin, and Deadly 10 with the operator approaching forward. Good thing, that's gonna be a neutralizer.
It's quite a deadly execute from God's Reign. Anyone who's still on the site is left blind.
One enemy
And anyone who tries to peek in from heaven will be dealt with by the shorties. Backstab comes in from Deadly. But Autumn has way too many opponents to deal with. Now up close and personal. Just a single bullet is all that's required, but Deadly shoves in all the knives into his body.
And an easy defuse too. 3-1's the scoreline. Nicely done. Reckoning Esports having 2 rounds cushion so far. Can't even exactly call it a cushion, because God's Reign can bounce back at any time. So far they have managed to win 1. And if you talk about the facts that are underneath the scoreboard, I like this. I like this new implementation. Good one. Deadly 10 this time, changing his position up with the up. And I think so this should be a good pick if he's able to shut down Autumn right here. But the smoke's going to be perfect. It's going to block out the op. A good read from the opponents. Paranoia to at least stall the push for a couple of more seconds. And also a fragment to follow it up. So this entire push is being stalled, at least for now. Autumn's going to be the first one to flood inside the site. But a good 0.2. It's going to nullify everyone. Actually uses a null command. So Trist has managed to suppress every single player that's approaching them from the tree area. Reckoning Esports too, so quick to respond. And then Deadly 10's just waiting for anyone to cross on over to the opposite side. And as soon as they decide to do that, his operator's going to meet and strike him down. It's an absolute meat grinder waiting on the A site. And yeah, the first one's found. It's in the name of Hoax. The second one's going to be Autumn probably. He's going to run out of knives. And he pulls out the Stinger in the close quarters. 3-on-3 scenario. And Autumn looking to strike down the operator as well. Gets his hand on the Vandal. But he needs to connect this crucial shot. Misses that one too. God's Reign, site control taken. And now it's all going to come down to this post-plant scenario. Reckoning Esports so far, they have been quite phenomenal breaking down these post-plants. But this time, I guess it's Autumn who just goes absolutely berserk. And Hirsch, with his hands on the Odin, he strikes the man down to the front as well. But Tix has got a perfect angle. And Evil striked him down to hell. God's Reign. Another round on the board for this team. As I said, he can't call that a cushion. Because God's Reign can bounce back at any time and swing back into the action. And that's what has happened. So far, you can't really say confirmed in whose sails the wind is exactly. Both these teams are giving out equal effort. In the first one, God's Reign lacked quite a lot, but this time, they're giving it all they've got. And they need to. And it seems like they've got a lot of fuel in the tank so far. Ultimate's available in the hands of Abor too. He's got lockdown up. On the other hand, Reckoning being forced back to an eco, so their economy inside this game's not looking that fine. Good first contact. And Elite 10 able to rack up a decent amount of information, also able to fall back with that. But God's Reign, even though they've got this better weaponry, they've got the signature weapons, Vandals and Phantoms, they can't just underestimate their opponents. Deadly 10 just spamming through with the Sheriff. It's going to be tough to find any connections.
Oh, but you better pray that he doesn't find any of those connections. You know what happens when he starts to find them. It can be quite dangerous to stop him. It's a bit weird to see the lack of a killjoy on Reckoning, right? I mean, you're usually just looking out for... Oh my god, not like this, not like this. I really thought that Flabin would stick a knife in his back. At least he lets him off easy. But hey, with A main under the control of Flabin, this A side becomes so much more difficult to capture. God's Reign forced to go towards heaven into the waiting arms of Harsh. And he's able to get one more. Adjustments galore from God's Reign as they're still very paranoid about hitting the A side as they have no information or where Hoya and Flabin could be. And hence, they make this adjustment to go towards the B side. But little do they know that Flabin has TP'd past them. And the one man with the gun is ready to stop them. Ready for the interception. Nice kill onto Sai. The adjustment onto Hoax wasn't there quickly enough, but Deadly wants to make this move really quick. He wants to go ahead before the lockdown expires. I don't know, he's gonna get detained.
Overboard does not check it though. Deadly 10's been gifted out another lifeline, and Voya is also gonna heal him up, so back to full HP, I guess. Deadly 10 with this lifeline is gonna strike him down, and now I'm so worried for Godsreen and Vibor. Maybe should have just extended a little bit more and checked that switch area. That could have been a free kill for him with only 26 HP. This seems next to impossible.
God
and
damn.
Deadly 10 takes it underneath his belt, and Reckoning Esports, they win it. Godsreen giving that lifeline away to Deadly 10. They're regretting it so much now. But Vibor, that one little extension could have been so much.
But even if he did extend, even if he killed Deadly, Voya was right there to back him up. Look at the timing of all of this. I mean, first of all, Flabin getting the hands on the weapon itself was a big problem. This one Phantom created so many troubles for God's Reign. And then look at the string of actions. We didn't get to see it in the replay, but if Vibor did try to kill Deadly over there, he would have also had to fight Voya at the same time, who arrived onto its defender spawn just in time to back up Deadly.
No, he was actually a second or two far away. So there was a little bit of time gap there. If Vibor peeks out, gets that kill, he did still have like a couple of, like at least a second to fall back.
Yeah, but again, it's that hesitation, right? Do I have enough time? Do I not have enough time? It's too little of a timing window to even make a decision like that. And that indecision falters once again. We've seen this wall so many times.
Yeah, but this time it's a little different though. I mean, usually in that wall there's no gap, but this time Voya made that little gap, so it's all about conditioning. So they thought that there's going to be no gap in the wall. They heard the wall go up too, so they pretty much thought that, okay, no threat over here. But then Voya is just ready with his crosshair trained on either side of this wall. Oh man, Reckoning Esports, this little mind games that are clicking in inside the game. Really, Godsreen are just getting played like a fiddle.
Played like a fiddle, walking into the traps of Reckoning Esports so often. And it's almost like Reckoning Esports are the puppet masters. They've got strings attached to God's Reign, consolidating every move and trying to enfold the masses. But here's Tix kicking asses. Flabin, though, he is so stylish in situations like these. Classics, Vandals, Phantoms don't matter. It's just this man and his gun, putting on a show for everyone.
Too easy for Reckoning. At least that's what they're making it look like. And now is Deadly 10 once again with the operator is gonna look and strike his opponents down. But this wall right here, pure play of conditioning. Voya, like, nicely done. You guys can also implement these type of strats in your ranked games too. Like, such a good one actually.
Hey. Don't put ideas into the heads of young, influential people, you know? They're at ripe ages. They can get influenced by all of this. It's actually the good thing to get influenced by.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch a lot of these games, implement some of these strats in your own matches, tilt your opponents beyond oblivion.
But your teammates are not going to cooperate with you as these guys are cooperating with each other, because these guys are salaried professional players and they're meant to do that. So your teammates on the normal ranked games, I'm pretty sure there's usually these type of people who say, man, just chill out, it's just a ranked game. And then you feel like you just feel enraged whenever someone says that. It's like, dude, I know it's a ranked game. You don't need to tell me, okay? And stop telling me to chill out. I'm playing here to rank and climb up.
Sheesh. That's a lot of venting, Necro. Maybe talk to someone about it.
That's pure emotion of a competitive player, all right? I'm pretty sure everyone feels the same thing whenever they get said that chill out, it's just a ranked game. It's just a game.
And instead of speaking to someone about it, you choose to speak to hundreds of people watching the game.
Yeah, man, I feel like it's...
Group therapy. That's quite a brave ultimate from Sai.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised. There have been several instances in the past where he's used this ultimate blind, but this time it doesn't get him anything. Although, even though God's Reign had taken market control and they can easily crunch mid to B, this wall being present towards lane 1 makes it a bit awkward because it kind of funnels them in towards the stairs on lane 2. And Reckoning know that they can pinch God's Reign over here. God's Reign can also smell the trap from a mile away, that's why they're hesitating. But now that Voya is stepping up the heat, Deadly also kills everybody from the other end.
God.
This crunch trap, God's Reign knew about this. They saw it coming a mile away, and that's why they were so hesitant to enter.
I mean, And once again, it seems like Pearl all over again, huh? They're able to step in the sight, but not exactly sustain the control.
Ahead.
Still, it's a 2-on-3 though, but considering that size way too low and he's got no chance. Okay, hold on. As soon as I say that, now the man numbers equalized, but still one of the players from Godspeed is way too soften up. And yeah, that single bullet's going to seal the deal. Voya so far has been such a massive burning torch of consistency that Reckoning Esports can rely on, but this time he will be extinguished. Nicely done by Tix. A 3K off his own. He's also got a decent amount of utilities. He's also got a teleport available. Spike plant goes down. Not a lot of time, but it's still not going to affect at all, as Tix will probably get the spike plant down, switches all the way back towards the backside, but it's the judge. The classic shotgun inside the game that does the job.
And he does a dirty job, man. Man, this was such a nice trap setup from Reckoning Esports. A wall that's been put up towards lane 1. Even if you somehow break that wall, there's still going to be tiny angles created towards the little box which you have to check while crossing over. And because this wall is present, they're all forced to go via lane 2, where the Odin's prepared to spam anybody down who's even close in the general vicinity. I mean, Voya will see them on the minimap. I'm sorry, I named the wrong person. Voya will see them, and Deadly spots them on the minimap, just sprays them down with the Odin like that. That is just such a dangerous setup. And it's still active. So now God's Reign are really starting to run out of options. They spread out in a more defaultish manner this time. Even get revealed towards a main. But then look at Voya once again ready to peek on the back of these weird walls. And he gets away with murder! Almost.
Almost, so yeah. He was able to get one, and the sprint transfer could have come true as well, but not exactly perfect. Hooks will get his hands on the gun too. The shock dart's going to deny the ARP control so far, and Hirsch is just spamming over and over again, trying to deny that ARP control. All he needs to do is connect a couple of bullets, but he's able to escape on behalf of that, and Deadly 10 once again with the ARP strikes in. Nicely done. Denies the man in the mid. And now the amount of space this man is able to recover onto the back of that operator, it's crazy. Godsgreen slowly and steadily looking to sneak up on the A side. The Bulldog's going to strike Tris down. But actually, Godsgreen is not going to fully commit to that control because there is one man waiting on the other side towards the tree area.
They're aware about the presence of the op. They will most likely just wait for Tix's second smoke to regenerate, and now that it's back up as well, now they will go inside. But knowing the kind of person Deadly is, he's most likely going to peek ahead of that smoke. He will most likely disrespect it. He will wait for the paranoia and everything to get through. This time even the shorty is prepared, so anyone who tries to press the button will be sent to hell. But no, the shorty misses. A rare moment where he doesn't strike. Harsh trying to deny the plant with the Hunter's Fury, and he gets on him, and he puts himself in a very winnable position.
Solid stuff, and now he's also got Odin. We know what this weapon's capable of. One of the weapons that I'm really afraid of is this gun right here, but they've got a perfect fire setup. Both of the players just peeking out at the same time, and Godsgreen finally able to get one round, finally able to scoop one round under the rug for themselves. And they've also managed to retrieve the operator, but I don't think so on the attacking side it's going to give that much value.
The trap plays from Reckoning Esports continue to take place. And while all these shenanigans were taking place on the B side, the wall from Hoya, the shock darts, the spam, and everything else, they used that timing window to send Deadly up towards high mid. And that kill also was very instrumental. If it wasn't for the solo peek out from Tix, if he wasn't able to get that kill onto the tree guy, this round would have been impossible for God's Reign. Look at the elevation from Deadly 10 though. Yeah. He's on top of one of these barrier rob grim walls.
Nicely done, Deadly 10. Easy stuff for this man. Dashes back to safety as well, already giving his team the man advantage. That's all he needs to do all the time. These man advantages, another one taken down. This man is just like a venomous snake, looking to strike anyone down that stands against him. And these stingers that he's able to pull off, it's incredible. And now Godsgreen once again, Autumn looking to give the reward back to his teammates. And yes, he does, but still they've got a man disadvantage so far. Vapor looking to sneak in all the way towards the tree area. Managed to get so much control, but he will also get strike down. No matter what Godsgreen are trying to do, they're always getting countered so hard.
Exactly, and it's almost like Reckoning Esports can see this coming from a mile away. They've really learned from the mistakes of the previous Ascent game. Res comes up onto Deadly 10 as well. They had such a difficult time dealing with this one man, and they just can't get rid of him at all.
30 seconds left.
Revealing area.
And once again, you can see that God's Reign, even though they were able to get into the site, Reckoning Esports let them go past. They are completely prepared for this setup. They wanted to stop them from crossing over, but this smoke, it doesn't let Autumn do anything, and now it's all up to Tricks. He's got the paranoia down to perfection, but how much can he hold on to? There's just way too many members coming down towards him.
Oh. And well, the last man gets taken away as well. 7-3. He was last on the naughty list. But yeah, if Deadly 10's operator is going to keep on finding that much amount of value, then God's Reign really need to reconsider their pathways that they're taking to the site.
And they did reconsider their pathway. They avoided him like the plague by not going towards mid and instead heading towards catwalk. But in that very little timing window, in the few seconds it takes you to go from mid to a shot, Deadly 10 has once again repositioned himself and he's ready with the AWP again.
I mean, I personally thought that KJ can make a massive difference compared to Sage on this map. But with the way Voya has been able to utilize the walls, it's just
so
mind-boggling. And look at this once again. And I'll fall right here to catch someone off guard, and he does. This guy's so sneaky. Stop him, someone, please. It's just actually making me anxious. The way he's playing Sage, it's perfection, absolute perfection.
And if you're a God's Reign fan, it's so annoying to deal with this. Like, God's Reign know that he's gonna be playing this very cheeky, very annoying angle. He could be on top, left or right. He could be on bottom, left or right. You don't know which side the gap is gonna be. And there's no way for you to find out as well, right? I mean, unless you somehow scan him using size utility and get an exact position as to where he is, you won't be able to pre-fire him. And honestly, pre-firing is the only way to deal with a cheeky AWP angle,
oh my God,
the cheeky
no.
wall angle like this.
They're about to walk into a meat grinder. This is Odin. It's tough to stand the amount of damage this gun can deal onto you. And as soon as they're going to decide to walk in there, it's going to be an absolute spam. And yeah, there is a spam coming through as well. So much damage, so much hurt being caused onto the players in the front. And then even the fragment they need to pass on from. And Voya is just there to get all the kills. He's the collector of the souls.
The Grim Reaper, one might say. Dressed as an angel, dressed as a healer of death. This guy really is a person who deals in lives and plays along with the minds of his opponents. God's Reign felt so desperate over there, trying to push through that fragment nade, taking damage on the way inside. And then their own cloudburst just kind of makes things so much more difficult for them. Who would have expected a Sage, a character that cannot escape from a one-handed angle, to play a one-handed angle?
There they are.
Oh.
Not like this.
He's looking to spam. Yeah, but there's a box in the front, so that's why the spam's not happening perfectly onto Hooks. Impossible to get the connections done, but now he's going to try to use his shock darts. Nicely done. And the player's going to start to fall back. This Sova as well has been such a pain in the foot for God's Reign on the B site.
Absolutely. Every single player on Reckoning Esports is playing in a way which just annoys and triggers God's Reign. It's not like the tactical supremacy of Reckoning Esports is starting to overwhelm God's Reign. No. It's these little cheeky one-tricks that are just really, really annoying. And Reckoning have so many of them.
Yeah, all the time. Their strat book is filled with these cheeky plays that they're showing up. And it feels like Ascent is their home, literally, with the way they're playing this map. They're knowing every single pixel peek, every single pixel angle, and they're able to execute those perfect peeks too. Deadly 10 is about to get approached by so many players. At least one player in the close quarter, so he needs to hold that angle. And he knows there is someone to strike him down. Nicely done. Good connection. And Hirsch, too, in the off angle, is able to shut him down. Autumn from the back will stab him down, and now they've got the site control. But it's still a 2-on-2 scenario. 10 seconds left. Spike goes down. 8-3 is the scoreline. A lot of pressure God's Reign can feel right now.
Here comes an alt command, and that means no more util available for God's Reign. Autumn can't dash back, he can't even use his updrafts. Flappin coming in from the other side. This one-way smoke might just buy God's Reign some time, but they will have to play on the back of each other's contact. Tix holding the first contact, meanwhile Autumn underneath with the Yoden. The paranoia hits them both square in the face. Autumn somehow has his vision with him, and that's what it takes to make this half competitive.
That's what it takes, but ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, it's once again going to come down to the pistol, and so far, the win rate for Reckoning Esports has been 100% on the pistol round inside these series. So, this is definitely a round of fear if you are a God's Reign fan, because Reckoning Esports have managed to shut them down all the time, and especially Trist is playing a massive role into that.
And it took a very brave teleport, shrouded step from Tix into that smoke towards the defender spawn to even get that kill onto Deadly 10. If it wasn't for that, then Deadly was holding the angle with the op, and this round would still have gone in the favor of Reckoning Esports. So God's Reign have to start making those risky teleports in order to make that operator bamboozled. You have to take those risks.
And as you mentioned, they will need to start taking those risks, of course, but now as we all know, on the second half, this sides are going to be switched to, so we're going to be seeing Reckoning Esports on the attack, so I highly doubt the operator is going to be making that much impact, so we're not going to see the op into play. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. We'll be right back. Oh, okay, well, we've got the call to carry on. We're not going to be pushing on to the break exactly over here, Crips. But getting back to this entire conversation, so far with the way Voya has been able to abuse these walls, it's really, I mean, you can't even blame God's Reign to not able to read into that. It's just so unexpected. It's just so unorthodox. You never know what type of wall you're going to be faced with. And especially if you remember the conditioning play that we saw from Voya onto the B side. He was putting the exact same wall, but this time when he put that wall, there was a little gap into it, which he can peek from. He peeked out, got the kill, fell back. Once again, Reckoning Esports really relies on that initial duel, that initial contact on the defending side. If they're able to get the advantage right off the bat, that's going to give them the entire round.
Exactly. And it's not just the walls that are really starting to be a pain in the side for the team of God's Reign. It's also the push-outs from Deadly 10, because every now and then we saw that he would just walk up towards high mid, kill a very unsuspecting fellow over there, and then even fall back to safety without getting punished. So these cold-blooded murders, because they're going unchecked, God's Reign end up losing players in areas which they had control over. So that can be very weird at times.
Indeed it can, and especially whenever we saw the opponents, right, God's Reign trying to crunch in from the tree area. They're trying to execute the tree area so many of the times, but it never worked out for them. Never! There were so many utilities that were just against them. There was the operator from Deadly 10, of course. Then they also needed to deal with the fragment, and there was just also the Odin which was stopping them down. And until as the hit was confirmed that it's going to be coming in from the tree area, Reckoning Esports would already have the main control in the hands too. So that's taken away. So now the only way to flood inside the site is through the tree area. Take it or leave it. Those are the only option for the opponents. So God's Reign in general, they were just getting countered hardcore.
Even towards that tree area, right? I mean, if they go directly into the side, Reckoning Esports know how to deal with that. They were able to deal with stuff like that even in the previous game. But this time around, even when God's Reign were trying to attempt those retakes by going towards the window, trying to climb up towards heaven, Reckoning Esports were prepared for that one. In the previous game of Ascent that these two teams faced each other, that heaven play that God's Reign were making was really working out quite well for them, but not the same result this time.
Sheriff pulled out, and Autumn looking to go aggressive. Like this adjustment, but if one of the players from Reckoning Esports decides to check mid, this entire setup that God's Reign is trying to bring can be busted open. Trist is over here on the opposite side. I don't like this. What's going on over here? Deadly 10's going to dash into the site so far. Site control established too. But Reckoning Esports, as Deadly 10's managed to get the site control, as soon as that happens, Reckoning Esports, they get flushed from the back lines. Now they've got no other option than to commit in the front. Deadly 10's trying his best to fight back, but he's got too many players in the front and too much firepower to deal with and not a lot of HP to back him up. So he will fall down eventually. Now it's a 2-on-5 scenario. Trist is in the mid lines. He can't catch him off guard if possible, and he does that as well. 2 players taken down, a 1-on-3. Voya, too much trouble to take over from a single man, but this classic can seal the deal.
No, never mind, unless Stick starts spamming across. This classic will have trouble. God's Reign take matters into their own hands. They don't want to just sit back and let Reckoning Esports control the pace of the game. A super aggressive push out of A main gets them all the frags they require. And then they continue pushing on towards high mid as well. Poor Deadly was trapped. He never thought he was going to get crunched from high mid this early into the round.
That's a good start for the second half for God's Reign. A massive W in my books, considering now that also gives them a little bit of glimmer of hope of winning this map as well. But still, there is still a decent amount of cushion available in the hands of Reckoning Esports. Now, as we're going to move on forward to this anti-eco round, you can see Reckoning Esports, they're ready to win it too. They've invested into light armors. Let's see how this one's going to click in for them.
Revealing area. Shadows.
Exactly. I would have expected weapons rather than light armor. But hey, let's see what Reckoning Esports can bring to the table. Instant dash inside on the right, and then the TP on the left. So Reckoning Esports can get the plant down at the very least, even though they all die. That's going to give them some extra credits. And it might just make up for the armor purchase.
That's what they actually needed, though. You can clearly see the main objective for them was to just get the plant down, and they did. So yeah, I guess in their books, it's a decent round for them. But unfortunately, they weren't really able to get any kills on the back of that. And now Reckoning Esports, they're going to have enough amount of money to invest on the light armors and the superior weaponry. So that's a good thing. Signature weapons on the board for them. But Tix and Autumn able to stop. This deadly duo usually likes to play with each other. So a good combination.
A good combination indeed. You have Deadly Den dashing into its gen, Flabin teleporting towards the wooden box. So yeah, quickly covered ground. Uh-oh, Autumn's in a bit of trouble. He needs backup, and he's got plenty of it with 3 people from God's Reign peeking over here. But with just this one move, God's Reign give away a lot of information. Now, even though Reckoning spot 3 on mid, they don't know how God's Reign will adjust. So they will have to spend extra time trying to just clear all these angles out and re-clear whatever they had just acquired. After that aggression on mid doesn't work out, God's Reign tried doing it towards the B site. And this time, Goya and Trist, they're prepared for all of this. One blade in the hands of Autumn, and he gets it!
Well, Trist. A good take from them. And also an equal trade. A Sage to a Jet. As Hoax is still on the A site, looking to stop all of this, but seems highly unlikely for him to do so. There is a little bit of damage dealt on the opponent, so they are quite softened up, and Gabor's also having a little bit of surprise element. Good pick from him. Gonna destroy Deadly 10 out of the side, and now these post plants are looking a little tough on the side of Reckoning Esports as Flabin manages to get one of his own.
Yeah, but 2 players on Reckoning Esports are very low on HP. Trist trying to go for a reflank. He breaks the glass. He catches the timing. And he's got the flashes once again. Sai pinned, cornered. He's lucky he's able to drop down without getting shot. And then he does get shot. What a move from Trist. He knew the risks. He knew that someone from God's Reign would be marking the angle. But it just so happens that the moment he peeks, that's when Tix has a smoke in his arms. Like, look at the timing. Tix was marking that angle for the longest time, and then just the moment he looks away, that's when Trist decides to peek. Oh man, you can't script some of these rounds.
Well, I mean, at least that was a bonus for them, so it's not going to affect a lot. You can say that. And as God's Reign this time, they've got Autumn. They've actually got 3 players on to B. A decent adjustment, but the main problem for God's Reign is that Reckoning Esports, they're showing their presence all across the map. Even towards A main, there's 3 people, so it's really tough to know where exactly the hit's coming through.
Fragment to hold them at bay. The drone doesn't spot anybody, but at least it clears out the closer angles towards the right hand side and mark it. But now, Reckoning, they're trying to sell this fake out, but the spike being dropped, this gives away the entire illusion. Now they know where the real hit's coming from, and Tix, he is so good! Sai comes out to back him up. The paranoia isn't even required. Flabin and Hirsch were trying their level best to sell the fake towards the B side, but now they have a nearly impossible task on their hands.
A clean shutdown, and Hirsch decides to bounce back. He gets 3, but he will be wrapped up right there.
Imagine if it was Harsh who was trying to assault the A side rather than trying to sell the fake to its B. Things could have been very different. Especially given the way he's aiming today. Yep. And the lack of an initiator over here towards the A side just really makes things difficult for them. Like Trist's utility didn't really capture the essence of Tix over there and didn't even give away his information, so he's able to cheekily play under hell and get that spike. Well, and honestly, if someone else died instead of the spike carrier, maybe this whole illusion of a fake could have actually worked.
Maybe. Still a big maybe there. Deadly Tenants with only a classic. Interesting. Yeah, man didn't even have a lot of money to do anything, so I guess he's pretty much going to be a sacrificial lamb in these instances. Hirsch, as he's got his hands on the Vandal, he's going to be the first man to peek out. Passes the Vandal on to Deadly. Still don't exactly know what Reckoning Esports are trying to accomplish. And so far, they haven't even done anything. They haven't even accomplished anything, if you'd like to say so. But Flappin's about to meet someone in mid. Autumn, the timing is a little off, so it's going to give a chance for Reckoning Esports. At least Flappin see another day, but Deadly Tennis gets sacrificed.
And there's no trade back. That's one weapon down in a very difficult to recover spot. Okay, never mind. Harsh is just going to run down like a Chad, not worrying about getting shot from anywhere. And he's making so much noise. Understandably so, there's very little time left, so they have to hurry inside. First nanoswarm pop, second one about to go inside, but they're all flooding towards generator. And Vibor just about recovers his vision before he gets killed. Hoax hiding inside the smoke though. He might just find the perfect timing over here.
Might still, and as soon as the smoke fades away, Hirsch is being dealt with. Reckoning Esports still a 3-on-4. There is a chance that they can bounce back. They have got one ultimate, or actually two ultimates in their hand, but probably they're not going to try to utilize it. Flappin needs to fall back to safety and get this weapon saved, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to let Godsreen have the control and also the defuse.
Yeah, but in so many of these rounds, this hell position has been such a big problem for Reckoning Esports. There was a double kill from Tix in the previous round. This time, Hoax goes unchecked. This one position on the A side creates problems for Reckoning Esports every time they try to assault it.
This pick right here. That one single timing that happened in the mid, it gave him a chance to strike. These little timings, that in itself just proves that every single second, every millisecond actually counts so much. As we're going to jump inside a tactical timeout. And Reckoning Esports realized that they're not really able to win any rounds on this attacking side. So something needs to be done here because Godsreen have almost covered up all the lead that Reckoning Esports had over them.
Yeah. It seemed like a very one-sided game to begin with. But now Godsreen are mounting this comeback. The performance in Ascent yesterday also was quite spectacular, you know? They were able to win 7 rounds on the attacking side. And they gave only 1 round to Reckoning Esports as defenders. But now they're pulling off the opposite. Now they're winning every single round on the defense too. Storylines indeed have changed for both these teams.
Four ultimates available. Should be a free side take. That's what it looks like. Fragments out instantly. The null commands pops as well. Clearly now the intentions are there, but you can see Autumn's ready with his crosshair straight. But an instant resurrection 2 is going to be on the board. Autumn, a good span through the smoke to seal the deal. And Flappin's on the other side. A good teleport from this man too. He's going to have such a massive surprise angle. Was able to get one, but not able to follow it up with the second one. Still a massive man disadvantage in the hands of Reckoning Esports. They wanted to hit the site quickly enough. They've burned through so much utility and so much value that now Reckoning Esports, even if to reconsider this entire site hit, it's going to be a massive struggle for them. But they have got no other option to do so. They need to make this site take reconsider. They've got decent ultimates, or decent utilities if you can say. 2 shock darts and a recon dart in the hands of the SOA, and also 2 flashes and a 0 point. But they've got no smokes. That's where the problem starts to occur.
Exactly. I guess one thing they can use to their advantage is the mid area, which is currently being unmarked. I mean, God's Reign probably have it under a very provisional
30
observation.
seconds
You know,
left.
they would just hold to make sure nobody sneaks into its defender spawn, but they won't really care if Revenant Esports take control of market. Oh yeah, unfortunate. Just walking out of the smoke dry. It was always a death sentence. He was never supposed to find anything over there. Destined to fail. And now the
10
two remaining
seconds
members
left.
will just save their weapons as God's Reign equalize the scoreline.
The call's made to get the save down. And that's what's going to happen. Still 2 guns being saved, I guess. It's not that bad for Reckoning Esports. And now that the scoreline's tied up too, this should give a massive confidence booster to the opponent. God's Reign should be feeling good about themselves.
What a shot. What a performance from Autumn. Absolutely magical. And I mean, they know that he's going to peek out. They know that God's Reign love disrespecting smokes and peeking out at the worst possible times, and Reckoning are aware about the pattern, but they still can't do anything about it.
Get out of my way!
0 point. Detects 2 of them. At least with this, they should figure out where the nanoswarm setup of the Killjoy is, but I don't think Reckoning Esports will have too many options about it. Now, luckily, there's no alarm bot placed to its mid, so if they play their cards right, they might just be able to sneak in. The only person who's watching that area is going to be Trist. I'm sorry, not Trist, it's going to be Hoax. And he's watching from lane 2, just periodically looking into its mid, throwing in his 0 points as well, but Autumn throws Trist's head into the bin.
Reckoning Esports. As they start to walk in, Italy 10 has managed to get a lot of control. Let's see what they're able to establish on behalf of that. Is already able to swing all the way back towards the spawn. And now he's also double up drafting, so that's going to be a free kill for him. B-side is in the taking for Reckoning Esports. Nothing can stop them from flooding in here. Maybe Tix can be the one, but no is going to be the answer. Too many angles to take care of at the same time, and even he will fall down.
Planted.
And now God's Reign, the last 2 players, the last 2 glimmer of hope inside the round, looking to save the day inside this one. They've already got a lot of economy just stacking on top of each other, so even if God's Reign do lose out in this one, it's not going to affect them a lot, but still, the scoreline will be something that will affect their mental.
It definitely will. Plus, not just the scoreline, the way in which they lose this round is also it's such a heartbreak, right? I mean, God's Reign were fully aware about the fact that Deadly is towards defender spawn. Vibor was marking that area. The Cloudburst makes sure that Vibor can't peek out. And Deadly also realized that he's taking way too big of a risk, so all he has to do is just nail that timing window. Get into the B-side as quickly as possible before he gets shot in the back of his head. And he does one even better. Gains the elevation and takes out a very unsuspecting player into the site. That is just pristine from Deadly 10. The strongest of factions require the strongest of builds, and the strongest of risks give you the best results. Tell me this wasn't a risky play. I think Deadly 10 was fully indeed, it was too risky. But he gets rewarded so handsomely.
That's what they say, right? High risk, high reward.
Standing ahead.
And Reckoning Esports this time, once again, going for quite a risky move. Just straight up dashing in the side is the player, the duelist himself, Deadly 10. Now looking to flood all the way the back lines too, towards the hell area, as Tix might just be able to catch 2 of his own, and he might just be as well. But no, he gets denied a perfect wall as well to deny the entire entry from the doors area. Reckoning Esports, so far, they've managed to establish the site control 4-on-4 scenario, considering now that Reckoning Esports is in an advantageous position. It's going to be a tough one for God's Reign to bounce back. And so far, they haven't even got a lot of utilities that can reveal the opponent's position.
Even if you can reveal them, what are you going to do about this crossfire that Deadly 10 and Warrior are holding? It will be nearly impossible to break this. The fragment also doesn't do much. Maybe the Cloudburst can help break it apart for a little bit, but then you have to deal with Flab, and who's spraying everybody down. There's no getting past this, man. There's no getting past the Flabinator. He's styling on them, toying with his food.
remaining.
toying with his prey before he finally puts them in the grave. And he gets all of them.
And a 4K to end it all. Flabbin, just a single man standing on the ground right there, holding it down like a soldier. That's what you call a one-man army. An uncrackable wall, which was in the name of Flabbin this time by Reckoning Esports. Now 2 rounds, 1 back-to-back. They know that the momentum swing is back in their favor. The wind is back in the sails. And this tactical timeout from God's Re and his squad, a desperate one too, and needed to be called. So good call, I guess, from them. Now or never, as double digits have hit the board as well. God's Re know that the upcoming round's also going to seal the map point. So for Reckoning Esports to win this one, it's going to be an important one. But for God's Re to win this one, it's going to be a lifesaver for them inside VCLSA.
Exactly. What an execute from Reckoning Esports. You saw that dump of utility that they did towards the A site. 0 points, recons, flashes, frag grenades, just all of them just descending upon the site. And that leaves very little wiggle room for a player like Tix, who's already inside and holding. One of the few areas which was left uncovered by the utility was also then re-cleared by the Hunter's Fury. And yeah, Tix was good enough to just maneuver his way around over there and not get tagged by the Hunter's Fury, which is exactly why he's able to get even that 1 kill. But still, imagine, things would have been so different. He put down that smoke in the middle of the site, which could have given him a lot more wiggle room, right? Could have given him just a little area to play around. And Reckoning Esports deal with it instantly. God's Reign also made a very good adjustment. That crossfire to break, the cloudburst to break the crossfire on retake was great. But guess what's better? The Grimwall, as Warrior strikes above with the elevation. Unsuspecting players put into their graves very early on, prematurely, as Reckoning Esports flopped the site.
And right off the bat, we're starting off with a 3-on-4. But once again, it's been equalized, neutralized by Autumn, giving them another hope of light. As there is one man lurking around, though, in the name of Voya. They've got no clue that Voya's on either side. But still, one of the players from the side of God's Reign is going to decide to close it. And as soon as Voya knows that it's been cleared, he's going to decide to strike. Voya's got such a surprising angle. And he can change the entire course of the game, too. Flappin once again holds it down, and he will get a 2K. Voya is not even needed inside this situation. As Reckoning Esports, they sealed him at point. And now God's Reign, they're going to start a sweat. They would have never expected such a storyline.
There's the sweat bullets over here, and this indeed is one of the most spicier storylines coming from this tournament. Keep in mind that God's Reign were the ones who sent Reckoning Esports packing down to the lower bracket in the first place, and now Reckoning returned the favor by sending them home. 3 points away from overtime are God's Reign. It's either this or the journey back, and it's not gonna be an enjoyable journey, I'll tell you that.
Here.
Are they just gonna walk up catwalk without any smokes, without any other piece of utility? Just like that? Contacting? Okay, yeah, finally the smoke comes through. But that was also because God's Reign showed where Sai was. He had to drone in order to draw out that smoke from Reckoning. Wait, it's not even Reckoning smoke. That's Tick's smoke towards mid. He wants to stop them from coming too deep inside. That just really tells you how much respect to Reckoning Command right now.
Yeah. But even Reckoning Esports, they haven't burned through a single piece of utility other than that 0 points. And also that SOA revealed, so it's really not going to affect them a lot. Hunter's Fury used to stop that entire take from Tree. This time it seems like they have managed to put a full stop, and Hoax is able to follow up with 2. But Hoya is still alive, and this man can be a changer, but not anymore. God's Reign, nicely done. A good full stop onto the floodgates, and they're able to close the gates right on their faces.
Yeah, good stuff by God's Reign. Finally, they're able to muster up the courage once again. These A-side these A-side hits have always been a little dicey for Reckoning Esports, you know? Sometimes they work, and when they do, it works beautifully, but in most other occasions, Tix is able to anchor down like an absolute Chad.
Yeah.
And we've already...
the scoreboard.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you're right though. The spread out in between the frags of God's Reign members is just a bit too steep.
Yeah, it's like they're getting I hate to say this, Godsreen, they're a fantastic team. They've got every single player. Of course, they've got so much experience packing up. But Tix and Autumn, these two guys are single-handedly carrying the team so far. They've got so much kills. So yeah, on the other hand, Reckoning Esports, as always, kills are equally just distributed all across the board. A good resurrection, though, even if they lost out the man, that's one of the advantages Sage can give you. And this round is so important for Godsreen to win, too. The crosser placement's perfect, and this time Hirsch will be rewarded with the kill. But the only kill that he gets is one, but it's still more than enough, as they've got the man advantage set up. It's one single man advantage, and that can mean so much. A 3-on-4 scenario, able to flood onto the site. Position given away. Vibor's position compromised, and Vibor gets strike down, too. It seems like we're getting way too close to this 2-0.
Reckoning Esports 4v2 established already, and Godsreen will have to pull off a miracle to keep themselves alive over here. Sai has one recon dart available. This should reveal the position of at least one of these players. If nobody else, this should at least reveal Woya, but no, it goes right past him, and he's playing inside the smoke. Sai still turns around to flick his head open. Now that's the performance you need, and he strikes yet again. It's all up to Flabin. The man who made it look possible now has to make it all on his own.
Oh my God, what?
With a quad kill, stepping up above and beyond to keep Godsreen alive. We were just speaking about the performance of every single member of Godsreen. We were speaking about how Hoax and Sai were having a very off game. But the moment of calling is upon them, and they respond.
That's what I call a prime example of stealing the game from Death's Grip itself. All the odds were stacked with the Reckoning, but Sai and Hoax, these two players, and even Tix, though. Oh, Sai and Tix itself, these two guys just stole the show in that previous round, and that round is going to be proving so much of a huge lifesaver. Sai himself was able to get 2 massive kills, and now Autumn able to strike him down with a good operator shot. It's an absolute trap being set up on the B site. Woya once again looking to surprise someone with that wall, and Godsreen, they stop the flood from even agreeing onto the site this time, and every single player falls apart before they even get their hands on the opponents.
Godsreen have seen this playbook too many times now. They saw as soon as that wall went up by Woya, they knew exactly what's going to happen. They knew that the peaks towards lane 1 will come in a little bit late, and the Jet will dash inside. And that's exactly why you can see Autumn just repositioning with that shorty, prepared to kill anybody who enters. Even Tix was towards Switch, ready to welcome Deadly 10 with open arms, and the rest of them just get spammed as they try to walk out of that dark cover. Overtime is upon us.
Now I understand why the shorty is being nerfed. I really do. We're seeing so much shorty being played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And these shorties are giving out so much value. All right, operator pulled out from Deadly 10. As always, a win condition that Reckoning Esports relies on. As I said, it's all going to come down to this first contact. If Reckoning Esports is able to find that advantage on the defending side, the round will be theirs 90% of the time. And as soon as I say that, that's what happens. Autumn falls down. A big kill in the books of Reckoning.
A massive kill, that too. But hey, if these ticks are still alive, so the smokes will be available. People have to be very careful about these barrier orbs once again. A two-pronged approach from Godsreen. They're showing presence towards the B site. They even break the drone to confirm their presence over there. But while that is being done, they are also trying to creep in towards tree. Deadly 10 ready to receive them, ready to stop them at the crossing, but they aren't going to cross at all. They just wait for the timing. See the point? Utilized by both these sides, and Deadly once again strikes them hard.
I was literally about to say it, but sometimes waiting too much can be detrimental as well, and that's what happens. They waited a little bit too much, and Godsreen once again back to the basics. This is how they like to play. Really slow, safe, and sound. And so far, it's not working out because Deadly 10's operators picking them apart one after the other. And so far, they're also managed to establish a lot of things into the B side, or at least that's what it seems like. They should be able to flood in the side as well. Thoya's got a little bit of alpha angle. He catches the first one, but not able to get the second one down so far. Yoden once again will start to strike the players from the front, but Sai, nice shot with the classic. And Deadly 10's operator is going to make a mark once again. A stark message Deadly 10 is sending with his op, and Reckoning Esports, they close it off.
Yeah, but they've had plenty of opportunities to close this one off. The defensive side has not really been a problem for Reckoning. It's the attacking side where they kind of choked and failed to close the game in regulation. Will this be yet another overtime, or will this be God's reign ending their journey in BCSA? Oh, the nerves, they really start to kick in now. In God's reign, they will have to be absolutely stoic all the way through. Ice cold in order to make it across.
Another timeout being called out. We're seeing so many timeouts being called from God's reign. They really do need a breather like this. Reckoning Esports, on the other hand, the coach is not really making a lot of calls. It seems like they're ready for what's going to happen in the front. They must have got something done, but you guys also need to consider one fact, and that is that they won that previous round completely behalf of the heroics of Sai. So, now that Reckoning Esports have cracked the code, they can try to replicate the similar type of site take. And what are the chances of the similar clutch happening over and over again? They're quite less.
I mean, the one clutch that was required by God's reign, it did come through, you know. Sai stepped up, 2v4, quad kill, kept the hope alive for his team. And yeah, I mean, one might speak that he doesn't have the highest number of frags in the team, and Autumn's already dropped the 30 bomb. But hey, when the moment of God is upon him, he stands up. Reckoning, once again, having a golden opportunity to seal the series right here and now. Get it over with. They just have to make it across this treacherous gap that lies in between them and map number 3. And in between that gap lies God's reign. Okay.
Look at Autumn. He's positioned towards Winery. He's looking to catch anyone off guard, but this is just a little fake that Deadly 10's making. And soon enough, we're probably going to be seeing an entire burst onto the A side. That's where they're looking to wait over here. Autumn hopefully is going to get scanned up in the back lines. No, not so far. Autumn's position still anonymous, but I highly doubt they're going to leave this one unchecked, right?
I doubt so too. They made pressure towards mid by sending Deadly over there, and I thought that they might just double down on it because this will make God's reign reconsider their options. But the 0 point's perfect. It will detect the whole lot of them. Autumn gets only one, but that's all she wrote for him. Takes though. From this position, he has been such a nuisance for Reckoning, and he still hasn't been cleared out. He strikes yet again, and this position towards hell has been a problem for them. It continues to be a problem even now. Everyone gets mowed down. It's all up to Trist, and he can't even make it across.
A-side truly has been a massive problem in the foot for Reckoning Esports, yeah, and takes all the time just tucking himself in the Underheaven area. They're still not able to get rid of that player right there. A cure needs to be found of that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we go to another OT. What a game it has been. Lower brackets in general have been just so electrifying and also so anxious at the same time. That's what I mean.
Yeah, a lot of anxiety-inducing moments over here. Yeah. All these overtimes, all these clutches. I mean, they're bound to keep you on the edge of your seat. What kind of a cheeky ball do we see this time? Okay, there's no gaps, but God's reign will have to go the extra mile to check him in that corner.
Yeah. He's made a little pocket for himself where it's going to be a little tough to check him. And if he's left unchecked, then you guys know a heroic play is already being set up.
Imagine if he had a judge over here.
You never know, man. What could be the outcome? But yeah, God's reign, they're just waiting on the other side of the smoke. They're looking to flood in. So far, they aren't really doing so because they've got slow orbs on their way. God's reign a lot of times being bought off as well. Nice contact. A lot of information given away too. Now they know that the God's reign is literally on the other side of the smoke and they might be flooding in at any time. But still, you can see Reckoning Esports are not really just straight up committing for the road, rotate.
Oh my God!
So perfect from Hirsch. He gets scanned both of them, and he also strikes both of them down. Reckoning Esports is an absolute meat grinder on the A site, and the last man falls down too. Nicely done, Reckoning Esports.
Reckoning Esports, they knew about this play. They saw it coming a mile away. Especially with the position that Deadly 10 had acquired to its B main and he didn't see anyone, and the 0 points from Trist, they could smell this hit coming from a mile away. But even then, they were a bit skeptical about holding it, you know, because as soon as the Heaven guys tried to fight out, they got spammed. And then Harsh is like, yeah, you know what, I'll fight spam with the wallbang of my own. The scan is perfect, and then he just lets the Odin rip. It pumps so many holes into the guts of God's Reign, they are left feeling like Swiss cheese.
Autumn with the op once again. Just holding it down in mid, and this time he's probably going to be the win condition. No, he misses that shot. Another opportunity, another lifeline given away deadly, and we know these lifelines can prove out to be such a massive one because now Reckoning Esports will be more cautious. They know that the opponents have invested into an operator, which they haven't really done in the previous OT round.
Indeed. Vipor cut away from the action. He will most likely rejoin his teammates to its heaven in Autumn. He missed his opportunity first, but he can't afford to do it now. Reckoning Esports have already closed the distance, but Deadly 10 now strikes, so does Warrior. Operator taken out of the action, and the Danger Man is out. Hoax making a brave dive inside. The hero play won't work out this time, and Sai left once again in a near impossible clutch situation. He's been the clutch king. He's taken that title upon himself, but to prove and live up to that expectation, he will have to pull off the impossible.
The misplacement of the recon dart. Sai really just feeling his nerve. There's two players waiting for him to just drop down. And as soon as he does, he will probably catch a lot of hurt onto himself. That one single peek can seal the deal. But Sai dreams, will he be able to isolate these duels? That's what he seems like. He's got the first one. Maybe the second one will be done too.
God.
And yes, he gets the second one too. I guess this clutch is possible. 63 HP left over. Trying to bait a peek out of his opponent. And so far, maybe he's able to done that successfully. No, Hirsch knows the stick isn't coming in just yet. And what a shot from Hirsch to seal the deal. Reckoning Esports, they make it a 2-0 series against God's Reign, and they prove him unparalleled.
Reckoning Esports exact revenge. A very stressful game, as you can see Flabin breathing a sigh of relief. All their expectations demanding an explanation, as God's Reign is so far away from their destination. Reckoning Esports exact revenge. God's Reign sent them packing into the lower bracket first, and now Reckoning Esports send them out of the tournament. But man, that last round was down to the wire now, wasn't it? Sai was awarded the mantle of the Clutch King, and he almost proved why he deserves that title. Almost being the keyword.
He's just so good. He's just so good at isolating those duels in these clutch situations. It's crazy. All the time, he manages to isolate those duels. It's honestly just so commendable. But yeah, God's Reign, they've given such a tough fight to so many of the contenders. They have passed through so many thick and thorns, but in the end, they lose against Reckoning Esports, a 2-0 series. Reckoning Esports just single-handedly destroy God's Reign. The first map taken away and the second map too, where it was a really close affair. But in the end, Reckoning still have got things under control. And it was the same stuff once again. They did the same A-hit once again. But as I said, the clutch situation cannot happen over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to go to the stage and take a look at the interview.
Woo! Reckoning has just knocked out God's Reign. Listen, you guys are making a habit of getting into these overtimes and winning with a thriller-minute kind of a performance.
I think we are just cursed, you know, even if it's 4v2 and it's run like a map point, it's fucking cursed, trust me.
Also, last few games, we've seen your performance really go up. You've stepped up while everybody talks about Flabin. What's been going on in your mind in the last few performances that we've seen?
Nothing special, I just want to win. I want to show OG who is the best.
Now look, Orangutan versus ASTER Army. Right, that's the big matchup. You play the losers of that game. Who would you rather prefer playing in the next round?
Obviously, Aster. Because OG gonna be my desert.
Oh, the finals. Nice. Right, but just if you take a look at the playoffs, Split 1 and Split 2, you guys didn't win anything. And now when it mattered the most, you had a ticket to go back home in one hand. You got 2 victories. You have knocked out God's Reign. This must be feeling euphoric, isn't it?
I would say we believe ourselves. Even when we throw the round which we have to get, we are still believing. Everyone is on drive. Everyone is hungry to win. And we are coming to the finals, baby.
Just one last question, just about what we witnessed today in this matchup. You guys are pretty clean on map 1, but then in the second map, things didn't go according to plan, but there was great recovery. How did you take that charge?
I think, first of all, in our mind, we were ready to win when we win 8-4 defense. Because our T side is completely crazy. I know we are sure in T side we can win a lot of rounds, even if we throw them. But I think we just win in the mind, but we didn't win in the fight. So then we just had a talk in the bows. Isaf Gabin talked us many good things, and we just managed to win it.
Thank you so much, mate. Just when they thought that, you know what, the jaws of defeat are staring at them, they snatch defeat, reckoning move into the next round. God's reign, it's time to say goodbye.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, just the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, just the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track,